Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our third session within the Take 5 with StratusLIVE series. If you've missed any of our previous sessions, I encourage all of you to head over to our landing page with all of the previous recordings. You can take a look at some of those. Today, we are going to be tackling how to increase productivity and internal efficiencies at your organization. First up, our agenda. I'll give a brief introduction to all of our speakers that are joining us from today. Then we're going to discuss our digital fundraising challenge, how to increase internal efficiencies. Next, we'll discuss how StratusLIVE approaches this challenge, and then a brief demo of our Microsoft Outlook and Teams integration within StratusLIVE 365. And then finally, a brief Q&A if we do have the time. First up, our speakers, so you can all see our smiling faces on your screen now. We have Debbie Snyder. She's our Group VP of Sales and Marketing. Brett Meyer, the Director of Product Management and Services. And that's me, Kelly Perry. I'm a Digital Marketing Manager. So first up, our challenge, how to increase internal efficiencies. And one common question that we have heard from many of our prospective clients and current clients as well, that Debbie will answer for us here, is I have too many separate systems to keep up with. How can I have one place to see my calendar, activities, team communication, and donor information in one place?
Well, thank you, Kelly. I think this is a challenge that we all face. Most of us have areas of our organization with silos of information. One of my favorite benefits to talk about with regard to StratusLIVE 365 CRM is our native integration with Outlook and Teams. As Brett will demonstrate in just a moment, having the ability to work seamlessly from within Outlook, Teams, mobile devices, or browser is a huge advantage. This integration will significantly shorten the training and user adoption challenge for new users. In addition to usability, this integration really helps ensure data integrity. Over the past 2 years, Teams usage has grown to over 115 million users. So chances are that your workplace and those you hire in the future will already be familiar with this environment and comfortable with using it. The seamless integration is a great way to streamline your workload and boost your productivity.
Awesome. So a bit more about how StratusLIVE in particular approaches this challenge. And as Debbie first integrated, our integration with Outlook. And while we were thinking through this discussion today, we're thinking about who on our client side is utilizing these integrations. And our Outlook integration is especially popular with anyone on the resource development side. So anyone who's communicating externally. So you can easily pull up your CRM within the Outlook environment and pull any interesting tidbits, whether that be a donation amount, the last time an individual had donated, and you can pull that into an email that you're sending to your donors. So there are a variety of benefits associated with this. For internal staff, it increases your efficiencies, so you're not having to have both Outlook and CRM open in separate tabs or separate environments. It's all within one environment. It also, as Debbie indicated, ensures data integrity, so you're not copying and pasting any incorrect information. So it's so critical that you're building trust with your donors, especially your major donors. So being able to ensure that any information you're sending out externally to your organization is accurate is very, very important. Finally, think about the benefits for your donor. If they're receiving personalized messaging using CRM data points, they feel very valued. They feel as if you're speaking with them one-to-one. They feel seen. So again, using this example of a major donor, if you're about to send them an email, you see that perhaps their granddaughter had a birthday recently, you can pull in that information within the email that really personalizes it and will hopefully deepen their engagement with your organization. On the other side, the Teams integration. This is very popular with our clients internally. So you're organizing an event, say you're about to host maybe a walkathon event, and I believe Brett will dig into this example later on. It allows you to really collaborate internally in real time. So you're keeping all of your files about this event in one place, and you can also chat with your team members about the event. So it makes it all very easy to use in real time, all of your files in one place. And our team will help you walk through this setup process and how to organize your teams based upon the taxonomy that makes sense for you. If you're digging into your event, you can see where you're at with giving levels, the start and end date of the event, who is participating, and then being able to connect with Power BI to see your top teams. So all of your information in one place, both coordinating and data. With that said, we'll pass things over to Brett, who will show a brief demo of our Outlook and Teams integration within StratusLIVE 365.
Thanks, Kelly. So I'm going to start within the Outlook portion of the system. So we can talk about what all can we get to when we're experiencing StratusLIVE through the Outlook experience. So I'm in my Outlook, and just as many people do, this is the first place I go into at the beginning of the day. It's the last place I go into at the end of the day. And all that time in between. So it's nice that I have access to all of my StratusLIVE data while I'm in here. So in this example, I'm on a donor email. It's already in the system, and I can see that this is already tracked. And tracking basically means that it is now integrated, this email itself is integrated into the StratusLIVE system. Now, we talk about the efficiencies of the system and being able to get to that donor data and see all of that information. There's a couple of different ways I can get to that. One of the ways is I can go up here to this little 3-line icon and click on that. This actually takes me into the whole system. So I can go to my home page and I can search for accounts and contacts that I might be working with. I can go into my fundraising area, my finance area, my marketing, my engagement. So this allows me to go into different work areas. So you not only have access to your constituent data, you actually have access to the whole system when you're within Outlook. Now I'm going to use this little icon here. This is actually my favorites or the recently used things within the system. Brian Billingham happens to be one of my favorites. He's one of the donors that I work with directly. So of course I have him saved to my favorites. So I can always get back to his record whenever I want. Now when I click on there, this is going to take me in and it's going to give me an experience with the donor information. Now, it's powerful that I can actually have more than one view of information. So this is what we would call a form. You'll see it's the information form. If I click the little drop down here, I can have a secondary form that might display the data a little bit differently. So you can see I went from a kind of a white screen to now a bunch of information filled in on here where I can get to all of that information. So I'm looking at an email side by side with all of Brian's contact information. I can see at a glance without even scrolling anywhere. I'm not going to move my my cursor down or anything like that. I can get some basic information. I can see tasks and timelines. These are recent things that may have happened with this donor. So Kelly talked about, did something happen? Did they have a recent gift? Did something get updated in here? I can see my timeline. I can also see my financial summary information very quickly from here. So I know that Brian is a very large donor with us, over $500,000 lifetime. And then if I do want to scroll down, I'm going to get into even more information. So more address information on this side, more activities, and then things like their first gift. When does their membership expire? And I can see that right here. Brian's membership has expired with us. So that's something I want to talk to him about while I'm communicating with him, or maybe I'm sending an email out right from here. So up at the top, you'll see I have different areas of this form that I could go into. If I wanted to look at analytical information or interests, recognitions, what plans, recurring plans. And actually, if I click on this related drop down, this gives me access to every single item that's in StratusLIVE that I need to be able to review with Brian. So let's just say I wanted to look at payments, and payments are down in our financial transaction area, and this will be his gifts area. So very quickly from Brian's information, still within Outlook, I'm able to look at all of the most recent contributions from Brian. So I can see he had a $75 gift back in August, and actually our date is in July. for our accounting date on that. Same thing, he had one in early July for 75. And I can see we had a very large gift come in March. So very quickly, you can get into a lot of different information about the donor. I can get to all of those pieces right from here. And again, if I wanted to, I can come up here to the top and maybe I wanted to go to engagement. I have the ability to look at events and event attendees and volunteer projects and all of those different things that are all part of the system. So the ability to stay within Outlook, stay within your inbox, and be able to access StratusLIVE and Dynamics from there becomes a very powerful story. I can even click on a little push pin up here and keep this open no matter where I navigate to within Outlook. So that's very powerful and great for those external communications. Now I want to switch gears a little bit and move over to our internal communications. Now, I have a screen open right away because I wanted to show you, we're going to use an example of events, and I want to talk about that in a minute. But I also wanted to show that I can have that same experience that I had within Outlook, also within Teams. So this is Brian Billingham's form, exact same form I was on before. It does display a little bit differently within Teams. I have a little bit more real estate with this. Where I go to for all of my related items is actually a drop down here at the top instead of that little related button. But the experience is virtually the same across all of those different pieces, and I have access to the same information. Now, let's move on to the example. We use Teams to collaborate. So I'd like to use the example of my events and volunteerism. And I'll point out over here, this is part of what Kelly was talking about with nomenclature. So we work with you on setting up the proper way of kind of coordinating your Teams aspects, how maybe to set up these different areas. So you notice I have finance, general, current, dashboards, and then plans. Same thing under events. So that way you get consistency between these different areas. Now let's go over to our events. And I'm going to go into my current projects area. And I am working on a 2021 walk right now. So it's great that I can use the Teams aspects to go to my files. And I can see everything that we're doing about this event. I can see the list of prospects and donors for it. What do we have for planning photos, presentations, my planning documents, my invite mock-up? It's all here. I don't have to go to another system to see all of the files that would normally go along with something like this. Now, if I want to look at some general information, I do have access directly to the walk from here. So this is the actual event that's within the system. So it'll take a second to come up here. This will give me some basic information. I can see what my expected counts, my maxes, and where I'm at right now. So I'm sitting at about 246. I have almost $6,000 raised in here. If I want also, I can have something pinned here for all of what we call opportunities. And these are my teams. So I can see at a glance all of my different teams. Right now they're alphabetized. So I can see that information and I could drill into all of those right from here. Now, the other thing that I can do is right from Teams also is maybe I want to embed a dashboard. And in this case, I'm going to go to my walk dashboard. This is going to kick off Power BI, where I have direct access to all of the data about this. I can see my top teams. So I can look at this, so it's not alphabetized anymore. Now I'm looking at the dollar amounts that they're actually donating. I can still see that $6,000 that's raised. And also something that's interesting this year is because we've made this a virtual walk as we've had to over the past 18 months, I'm able to see that I not only have teams in Southeastern Virginia, I have teams all over the country and actually in the world. So we've actually attracted people that used to live in Southeastern Virginia that want to do a virtual walk with us. And we have the ability to see all of that in here. So again, I hope in that short time I was able to show you that, using Outlook for those external communications and understanding your donors is great. And then we can work within the Teams aspect and look at this for internal collaboration. So I'm going to turn it back over to Kelly for our closeout.
Thanks, Brett. And I hope all of you enjoyed today's session today. It was short and sweet. I put the link to our remaining sessions in our series. We're running through next Thursday, so please take a look at those and keep an eye on your inbox for our recording and deck. We want to thank all of you for spending this short time with us today, and we hope to see you again soon.